how UPSC is framing deceptive passages, misleading passages, and making us mark wrong answers. In today's session, we will be understanding how do we bypass these traps and mark the correct answer. Skimming as an approach. What do we do in UPSC kind of passages where the central idea, the most logical inference, crux of the passage, author's main emphasis, these kind of commands, when these are asked, we use skimming approach because this gives us the correct answer without any distractions, without any deviations. ठीक है, आंसर जल्दी भी मिलता है और बिना किसी डेविएशन के मिलता है. वी कांट यूज दिस टेक्निक इन फैक्चुअल क्वेश्चन, जब जैसे स्टेट पीसीएस के क्वेश्चंस आते हैं जहां पर फैक्ट्स पूछे जाते हैं, स्पेसिफिक इंफॉर्मेशन गिवन इन पैसेज पूछी जाती है. देयर अनदर टेक्निक हैज टू बी यूज्ड व्हिच इज कॉल्ड अ स्कैनिंग. ठीक है, वहां पर स्कैनिंग यूज करना होता है स्टेट पीसीएस वाले पैसेजेस में. यहां पर स्किमिंग हेल्प्स अस. स्किमिंग कैसे करना है? रीड द फर्स्ट लाइन of the passage, read the last line of the passage. It gives you a good overall idea about what the passage hints at and you are good to go. एग्जाम्पल देखते हैं फिर ज्यादा क्लैरिटी आएगी. ये वाला मैं ही पढ़ लेता हूं. गुड कॉर्पोरेट गवर्नेंस स्ट्रक्चर्स एनकरेज कंपनीज टू प्रोवाइड अकाउंटेबिलिटी एंड कंट्रोल. लास्ट सेंटेंस, investors look to place their funds where the standards of disclosure, of timely and accurate financial reporting and of equal treatment to all stakeholders are met. First और last line हमने पढ़ ली. These are the options. Statement best reflects the logical inference. ये पूछा गया है. Best reflects the logical inference from the passage. It is an important agenda of the countries around the world to ensure access to good external financing. Good corporate governance improves the credibility of the firms. International capital markets ensure that the firms maintain good corporate governance, and good corporate governance paves the way for robust supply chains. Yes, so beta is the correct answer, guys. Another important learning, that any statement that tries to make a sweeping claim, a grand claim, is more likely to be wrong. जैसे यहाँ पे ऑप्शन सी और ऑप्शन डी. ऑप्शन सी क्या बोल रहा है? International capital markets ensure. So XYZ ensures ABC. Fine. Again, option D, XYZ paves the way for. Again, paves the way is not grand posturing for that matter. Option C certainly has that kind of posturing. Option B, very much in line with the tone of the passage. First line and last line that we read. Guys, mentally जल्दी से पूरा पैसेज पढ़ लो. पहले हमने सिर्फ फर्स्ट और लास्ट लाइन पढ़ी थी स्किमिंग करके.
The main crux again, the first two lines and the last, I guess, corporate governance का उससे ज़्यादा idea आ रही है than the बीच का part of the passage.
Apart from that, is there some likelihood of us being confused or digressed? Because
Right.
the topic also
Yes.
speaks about external financing by firms leading to greater investment, higher growth and employment.
Right. Yes, sir. थोड़ा
Okay.
diversion भी होता है वो main crux, मतलब बीच का part पढ़ के.
So examples, elaboration, illustrations, ठीक है, they tend to confuse us and divert our attention from the core of the topic, core of the passage.
Sir, I was also confused initially I was confused between B and C.
B and C.
Then later, yeah, because there was this investment and all these things was there. Like I thought investment, like in the C option, there was all, they talked about a lot of things about investment. International capital market ensures the firms might good. Okay, yeah, like internationally investment, all those things I got confused, and between B and C I was confused.
Keeping it simple. पहला सेंटेंस, गुड कॉर्पोरेट गवर्नेंस स्ट्रक्चर्स एनकरेज कंपनीज टू प्रोवाइड अकाउंटेबिलिटी एंड कंट्रोल. कॉर्पोरेट गवर्नेंस की बात हो रही है विच इज लीडिंग टू अकाउंटेबिलिटी एंड कंट्रोल बाय कंपनीज. आखिरी में, इन्वेस्टर्स लुक टू प्लेस देयर फंड्स वेयर द स्टैंडर्ड्स ऑफ डिस्क्लोजर ऑफ टाइमली एंड एक्यूरेट फाइनेंशियल रिपोर्टिंग. नंबर 2. नंबर 3, equal treatment to all stakeholders. So you are being fair to all and you are following all procedures. Here, there is no reference to capital markets.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Here, the reference is on corporates, corporate houses, or corporate structures maintaining good corporate governance, which directly reflects in option B. Right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
We get the correct answer.
Sir, before moving on to the next question, I would like to highlight something. Passages में जो keywords दिए हुए हैं वो incorrect option में mention किए हुए हैं.
हाँ, very good. guys. Now
It's enhancing
yes, very good input.
enrichment.
Very good input. So, guys, what Amod is saying that UPSC is deliberately using keywords from the passages in incorrect options. So, our learning as part of the program will be what matters to us is the essence of the passage, not verbatim repetition of keywords. ठीक है? Now, be it essence of the passage or essence of the first and last line. Many times UPSC tries to fool us by doing verbatim repetition of keywords. But their essence won't be replicated. Only keywords would be replicated. We'll understand this difference as we practice more and more. All question, padlo, please.
So, which one of the following statements best reflect the crux of the passage? A. Generation of energy from municipal solid waste is inexpensive. B. Biomethanation is the most ideal way of generating energy from municipal solid waste. Segregation of municipal solid waste is the first step in ensuring the success of waste to energy plants. D. The biodegradable component of India's municipal solid waste is not adequate to provide energy from waste efficiently or effectively.
So, guys, all of you are correct. Now let's try to move quickly. अब यहाँ पर आपने सीधे क्वेश्चन को देख के आंसर दे दिया. Let's do reverse engineering और पैसेज की हम शुरुआत और आखिरी की लाइन पढ़ते हैं. In India, the segregation of municipal waste at source is rare. ठीक है, plain and simple. Last line. The biodegradable component of India's municipal solid waste is little over 50%. And biomethanation offers a major solution for processing this. अब यहाँ पर सिग्मा तो डेफिनेटली करेक्ट आंसर है. सेग्रीगेशन ऑफ म्युनिसिपल सॉलिड वेस्ट इज द फर्स्ट स्टेप इन एंश्योरिंग द सक्सेस ऑफ वेस्ट टू एनर्जी प्लांट्स. ऑप्शन ए हमने एलिमिनेट किया. जनरेशन ऑफ एनर्जी फ्रॉम म्युनिसिपल सॉलिड वेस्ट इज इनएक्सपेंसिव, not being conveyed by the first and last line. This is not at all the essence of what we have read. B. Biomethanation is the most ideal way of generating energy from municipal solid waste. Guys, this is another trap that UPSC sets.
Yes, sir.
It speaks about something and it speaks about that particular concept, that particular idea in a positive light. But when it comes to the options, it adds a superlative value to that concept to make it wrong. Say, for example, biomethanation is a good step and it is helping us in more than one ways, but it is not the most ideal way. ठीक है? So option B is a very good example of how UPSC sets traps. Fine. Option D, the biodegradable component of India's municipal solid waste is not adequate. Again, complaining tones. Okay, these are generally not the correct answers. Option C, remember guys, the core mantra of deciding whether a given option is correct or which option is more likely to be correct. It has to be reasonable. Segregation of municipal solid waste at first step is ensuring the success of waste to energy. The next question is question number 42 और इसका first और last line हमको पढ़ना है.
A global analysis of nitrogen use efficiency, a measure of the amount of nitrogen a plant takes in to grow versus what is left behind as pollution, says that using too much fertilizers will lead to increased pollution of waterways and the air. And the last line is this results in significant emissions of nitrous oxide, a potent greenhouse and ozone depleting gas, and other forms of nitrogen pollution, including eutrophication of lakes and rivers and contamination of river water.
Fine, guys. First and last line का essence हमारे समझ में आ गया है. Let's try to attempt the question now. Guys, the correct answer is alpha only. A is the correct answer, and enhanced efficiency of use of nitrogen is imperative for both food production and environment. First, let's look at the least obvious options, beta and delta. Production of synthetic nitrogen fertilizer cannot be stopped as it will adversely affect global food security. Not at all being hinted, guys. ठीक है? Artificial option create किया गया है. Delta, conventional agriculture using synthetic fertilizer should be replaced. Complete replacement, guys, practicable नहीं है. ठीक है? So something that is not practicable is not reasonable. So unreasonable options we eliminate. Choosing between alpha and sigma. What is a more rational and logical response? Finding alternatives to crops that require excess nitrogen compared to enhancing efficiency of use of nitrogen.
Right.
Enhancing efficiency is always a better option and easier option, right? Compared to replacing
Yes.
crops. Guys, replacing crops means you have to work at various levels. You have to work at the consumer level, at the farmer level, at the government policy level, everything, right? Right? Please read the next question. The next question being this. Read the passage, first line and last line of the passage first.
Along with the sustainable lifestyles, climate justice is regarded as a significant principle in environmental parlance. Justice in climate is not confined to actions relating to mitigation, but includes the wider notion of support for adaptation to climate change and compensation for loss and damage.
Guys, this is a very interesting passage, and the upcoming question is a very interesting one. I want you to read the first and last line again in your mind. ठीक है? Then I'll present the question before you. पढ़ लो पहले जल्दी से फिर से एक बार. This is the question. Which of the following statements best reflects the most logical, rational, and crucial message conveyed by the passage? So, guys, remember that super barometer that we follow, reasonability. The correct option has to be the most reasonable option. Amod, you eliminated option A and you chose
Yes.
option D, delta.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you eliminated beta and sigma. Beta environmental resources are unevenly distributed and exploited across the globe. ठीक है. Anyways, we'll eliminate it. Even without reading the passage, we would have eliminated it. Sigma, there is an impending issue of dealing with a huge number of climate change victims and climate refugees. Not at all hinted by the first and last line, skimming that we just did.
Yes.
Delta, climate change in all its connotations is mostly due to developed countries and therefore their share of burden should be more. Guys, this is where UPSC has set a trap. When we read the first line, it talks about along with sustainable lifestyle, climate justice is regarded as a significant principle in environmental parlance. Climate justice की बात हो रही है. That and ऐसा बोला जा रहा है कि it is a significant principle. आखिरी में justice in climate is not confined to actions relating to mitigation, but includes the wider notion of support for adaptation to climate change and compensation for loss and damage. So basically यहाँ पर support की अगर बात हो रही है, support कौन देगा? Developed countries will be giving the support. ठीक है? But this idea has been taken to the extreme, and UPSC has said that climate change in all its connotations is mostly due to developed countries and therefore their share of burden should be more. ठीक है? पूरा की पूरा ठीक रहा, डेवलप कंट्रीज के ऊपर फोड़ दिया. भाई चाइना भी तो है, इंडिया भी तो है, दूसरे बहुत से कंट्रीज भी तो है. पर कैपिटा लेवल हमारा भले ही एमिशन कम है, एब्सोल्यूट सेंस में वी आर ह्यूज एमिटर्स, right? So climate change in all its connotations is mostly due to developed countries and therefore their share of burden should be more. Mentioning an idea, mentioning a concept and then taking it to the extreme. Coming back to option A, climate justice should be ingrained in detail in the rules of all new climate compacts and agreements. So here climate justice is being accommodated. Okay? The first and last line speaks of climate justice. Now guys, moving a step ahead, let's read the passage. Let's understand where does the passage lead us. Take 30 seconds. पढ़ लो. Again, is there a chance of us being digressed? Because here it mentions about victims of climate change. It mentions about scientific as well as socio-political connotations. And
But still, it has to be. If we think like that, it should be. It is a kind of a narrowing down to one sort of justice, and it can also be various other things.
Yes. So that would be a narrow approach. So the thing is, if we read the passage, and if you look at the given options, when the options speak about climate change victims, this has been directly given in the passage. So there is this chance of us being confused. Similarly, unequal distribution, chance of us being confused is always there. Amod, क्या बोल रहे हो?
Sir, passage says that climate change has many connotations. It is not a unidimensional concept.
ठीक है.
And option D says that climate change in all its connotations. So it is going against the passage somewhere.
ठीक है. Makes sense.
Yes.
ठीक है. Guys, one last question. एक last question लेंगे and we can then end. The question is question 63. Please read the first and last line of the passage first.
Pharmaceutical patents grant protection to the patentee for the duration of patent term. The patent regime and price protection through a legally validated high price for medicine during the currency of patent provide the patentee with legitimate mechanism to get returns on the cost incurred in innovation and research.
ठीक है, clear with the crux. Now guys, this is the question. Guys, now this is a very interesting one. Please pay attention. Am I correct in assuming that option 4 के बारे में आप थोड़ा सा पॉजिटिव हो? You think that option 4 should be part of the correct answer because option 4 says statement 4 says governments need to find an appropriate balance between rights of the patentees and requirements of the patents. This also draws from the essence of the first and last line that we read, right? So if that is the case, you have to choose between beta and sigma 1 and 3. You have to choose. Statement 2 वैसे भी नहीं है इनमें, लेकिन अगर statement 2 पढ़ भी लेते हैं, dependence on other countries for pharmaceutical products is a huge burden for developing and poor countries. Although this might sound true, but does this draw from the first and last line? No mention at all?
No.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
No mention.
ठीक है. So we have to choose between statement 1 and statement 3. Statement 1. Patent protection given to patentees puts a huge burden on public's purchasing power in assessing patented medicines. Again, is it the case, guys? Like, did you eliminate statement 1 because it states that it puts huge burden on public's purchasing power in assessing patented medicines? Is that the case?
Yes, sir. Some patented medicines are available for low price as well. Not all patented medicines are.
नहीं, यहाँ पर all कहाँ बोल रहा है? ठीक है, we'll come to that. Statement 4. Governments need to find an appropriate balance between the rights of the patentees and requirements of the patients. ठीक है, sounds reasonable. Statement 4.
Yes. Yes, sir.
So when we have to choose between beta and sigma, 4 is common in both. 1 हमने देखा, 3 अब देखते हैं. Providing medicines to the public at affordable prices is a key goal during the public health policy design in many countries. Again, sounds reasonable. Providing
Yes, sir.
medicines to public at affordable prices is a key goal during the public health design in many countries. Now, guys, most of you have got it wrong. Lekin, let's understand ki what is the reason why we got it wrong and did we miss something when we read the passage. First line, pharmaceutical patents grant protection to the patentee for the duration of the patent term. ठीक है, clear है? Last line, the patent regime and price protection through a legally validated high price for the medicine during the currency of the patent provide the patentee with a legitimate mechanism to get returns on the costs incurred in innovation and research. What is the emphasis on, guys? The patent regime and the rights of the patentee, the powers that a patentee has, right? The thrust is not on government's efforts towards XYZ goal, right? Now, if we come back, this is another example of how UPC is setting traps. Choosing between 1 and 3 statements. Statement 3 क्यों गलत है? ये बोल रहा है कि providing medicines to the public at affordable price is the key goal. Underline, अब इसको underline तो नहीं कर सकता, आप mentally आप register कर लो. Is the key goal during the public health policy design in many countries. अब यहाँ पर ये क्यों red flag है? First of all, the first and last line are not at all speaking about public policy with respect to affordable medicines. Rather, it is doing the opposite. It is speaking about the rights and powers of the patentee of the pharmaceutical companies, right? और वो भी ये बोलना कि it is the key goal of those countries during the public health policy. तो उसको और एक स्टेप आगे लेकर जाया जा रहा है, ठीक है? So it doesn't draw from the main essence of the first and last line. Statement 1, patent protection given to the patentees puts a huge burden on public's purchasing power in assessing patented medicines. Guys, ये तो directly दिया हुआ है. जब last line बोल रही है the patent regime and price protection through a legally validated high price. पैसेज खुद ही बोल रहा है लीगली वैलिडेटेड हाई प्राइस होता है, राइट? तो यहां पर भावनाओं में नहीं बहना है. What comes first always is the essence of the passage. Then would come our own understanding about things. क्या होना चाहिए, कैसा होना चाहिए, हमारी अंडरस्टैंडिंग हमेशा बाद में आएगी. एसेंस ऑफ द टॉपिक, एसेंस ऑफ द पैसेज सबसे पहले आएगा. ठीक है. सो हियर द करेक्ट आंसर इज बीटा. 1 and 4, 2 and 3 एलिमिनेट कर दिया. 71 क्वेश्चन. इसका पैसेज पढ़ लो पहले, फर्स्ट लाइन और लास्ट लाइन.
In India, while the unemployment rate is a frequently used measure of poor performance of the economy under conditions of rising school and college enrollment, it paints an inaccurate picture. The unemployment challenge is greater for people with the secondary or higher education, and rising education levels inflate unemployment challenges.
Now, guys, give me the correct answer and tell me, does it sound a bit counterintuitive? If yes, why? Okay, so almost 70% of you guys have answered delta, 30% have answered beta. Guys, beta is the correct answer. Delta is wrong. तो सबसे पहले समझ लेते हैं कि ऑप्शन ए और सी हमने एलिमिनेट किया. एनरोलमेंट इन स्कूल्स एंड कॉलेजेस हाई बट देयर इज नो क्वालिटी एजुकेशन. अगेन एक्सट्रीम साइड पर है, एक्सट्रीम फ्रेमिंग भी है. प्लस इट इज नॉट ड्रॉन फ्रॉम द पैसेज. सिग्मा, देयर इज नो लेबर, there are no labor intensive industries to accommodate the huge number of unemployed people. Counterintuitive है, absurd है. Now beta and sigma, beta and delta. Unemployment must be seen as a function of rising education and aspirations of young Indians, and the education system should be properly designed so as to enable the educated people to be self-employed. Guys, remember we just discussed that the essence of the topic takes precedence over our thoughts, our thought processes. So when the last line directly says the unemployment challenge is greater for people with secondary or higher education and rising education levels inflate unemployment challenges, pretty directly given है guys. Option B क्या बोल रहा है? Unemployment must be seen as a function of rising education and aspirations of young Indians.
Right, sir.
Yes.
So option B,
Right.
option B is directly drawn from the last line of the given passage, right? So it is correct.
Yes.
Even though it might sound a bit like थोड़ा सा हमको अनपैलेटेबल लग सकता है कि भाई एजुकेशन,
Yes.
एजुकेशन को हम होली होली काऊ मानते हैं, एजुकेशन इतनी अच्छी चीज है, एजुकेशन की वजह से सब अच्छा अच्छा होता है, एजुकेशन की वजह से अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट कैसे हो सकता है? दैट्स द थिंग स्ट्राइक्स आवर माइंड एंड थोड़ा सा अनपैलेटेबल लगता है. But if it is following the tone, essence of the passage, we'll have to choose that. And this is a good example to highlight this particular aspect and reinforce this learning that honing of emotions करना है, emotional नहीं होना है आंसर मार्क करते समय. Precisely because of this reason 50-50 में हम आ जाते हैं और फिर इमोशनल होकर हम गलत आंसर मार्क कर देते हैं. In this case, we did not draw our answer from the passage.
Sir, I went with B because of among all the four options were not like, it doesn't make sense to me. It didn't make any sense. But B was little bit related to the last line. It was related to that, so that I chose B.
ठीक है. So Akhilesh is saying कि no option was making sense to me, लेकिन एक तो सही है उसमें से, इतना तो पक्का है. तो least absurd चुनो. So he chose option B.
If like अगर हम झूठ बोलते हैं तो हमें उससे जस्टिफाई करना पड़ता है. अगर डी स्टेटमेंट है तो वो ऐसे भी बनाया जा सकता था कि एजुकेशन सिस्टम शुड बी प्रॉपरली डिजाइन, लेकिन इसने सो एज टू डाल के जो मिक्स
framing
और
of
सर
very good. Guys, framing of the statements, this is something we'll be learning in more detail as part of our logic builder classes, जो मैं आपके 10 dedicated sessions conduct करने वाला हूँ. Structuring and framing of the statements पर बहुत ज्यादा हम डिस्कस करने वाले हैं, and to some extent that is also applicable to CSAT, and the way you are describing it, yes, that is the application of that learning that we'll be doing in paper 1's class. Guys, last question. मैं ही पढ़ लेता हूं just to save time. The first line says the last end of the state is not to dominate men nor to restrain them by fear, rather it is so to free each man from fear that they may live and act with full sincerity and without injury to himself or his neighbor. Last line, it is to lead men to live by and to exercise a free reason, that they may not waste their strength in hatred, anger, and guile, or nor act unfairly towards one another. Based on the above passage, which one of the following terms best expresses the ultimate goal? Guys, ultimate goal of the state. Now, if you read the middle lines, छोटा सा passage है, guys, is there some scope of us being confused with respect to the given options? Beach wala jo portion, it says, the end of the state, I repeat, is not to make rational beings into brute beasts and machines. It is to enable their bodies. It is to enable their bodies and their minds to function safely. Now, is there a scope for us to get confused? क्योंकि बाकी के ऑप्शंस बोल रहे हैं पर्सनल सेफ्टी, हेल्थ ऑफ बॉडी एंड माइंड, कम्युनल हार्मनी तो चलो हम हटा देंगे.
B and D.
B and D.
Could be the.
अच्छा,
Sir,
you are
Mumbai
confused.
में
अच्छा, so you are confused now. Now you are likely to get confused between beta
because
and
of the
delta.
middle line.
Beta and delta. Ranveer, what about you?
Sir, means there is slight confusion between B and D, but it said that ultimate goal. So I
Ultimate
think
Ultimate.
delta.
Guys, the point being conveyed is after reading the passage, before reading the entire passage, there wasn't even slight confusion. After reading the passage, there is that slight confusion, right? So
Right,
that difference
right.
has been created. Just to add a few things from my side, guys, CSAT, जो बच्चे नए हैं खासतौर पर उनके लिए CSAT को हमने फ्रीली अवेलेबल कर दिया है डेमोलिश प्रीलिम्स के स्टूडेंट के लिए. पहले वो डेमोलिश का पार्ट नहीं था. नाउ यू विल बी एबल टू एक्सेस द क्लासेस ऑफ डेमोलिश CSAT